Let's talk about a special upcoming Chinese sports car today, the SC01. On my recent China journey, I asked my Chinese community on Bilibili which car I should go and check out. The response was overwhelming and clear. I have to see the SC01, a small, nimble sports car that's about to hit the market. But where can you find this car, which has only been produced by hand a few times and coming from a startup without dealership network? I asked my community again to help me find this car in China, and the next day, the company which develops the car, GongJiangPai Auto Technology, contacted me, and they invited me to their development center in Tianjin. They connected me with their co-founder Stefan, and we could have a first chat. I was in Beijing at this point, and they said, "Come to Tianjin, it's only 30 minutes by train." That's 150 kilometers, but possible because of China's high-speed train service, which I described in detail in my other video. So I arrived in Tianjin in front of an industrial estate, and immediately recognized the special cars parked in front and inside the buildings. There were, of course, the latest Chinese electric cars, but also a Nissan GT-R, Ferraris, a Morgan, a Porsche 911 Turbo, a Mercedes 190 Senna, and a BMW E32, my all-time favorite 7 Series, and these cars are really rare in China. So I got the feeling that here must be real car enthusiasts. And I was right. Stefan welcomed me and told me all about the place. He also told me that apparently there are many inaccurate reports about the project in Western and Eastern news. They founded GongJiangPai on 14th of March 2014, so their symbol is the number pi. They're a bunch of car addicts, and their intention from the beginning was to build their own cars, but the Chinese car industry wasn't that developed at that time, with many gaps in the supply chain. And so they concentrated on modifying special cars first. Their CEO, Feng Xiaotong, is also running the YouTube channel China Car Custom since 2017. Over the years, the company got bigger and they started designing their own sports car. So the name is Sportscar 1, SC01. The technical director of the SC01 joined us and explained all technical details. So they designed a steel tube frame, placed a 60 kWh battery in the middle, designed a double wishbone pushrod suspension at front and rear, and used an electric motor on each axle. So the whole concept, apart from the all-wheel drive, is very similar to the Tesla Roadster. One of their employees studied art and designed the car. To me, it's a strong reminder of the Lancia Stratos, with its proportions, the round windshield, the short high tail with the 2 round rear lights, and it even has the large dark rings around them, but more on that later. So as a startup, the big question is, how do you make the body? And depending on that decision, you know how crazy your design can be. Because they want to sell the car in decent quantities and also abroad, a hand-laminated body in glass fiber would take too much time. The molds are expensive, and to reach a part with decent stability, you need quite a lot of layers, which in the end doesn't make the part that light. Check out my video about my Viper RT10 to learn more about that. A plastic bodywork like on a Corvette would allow for extreme design, but also here molds are very expensive. And so for the SC01 they decided to go with an aluminium bodywork. It's a good compromise between weight and accuracy, and it works well for higher production numbers. And there are some cool features in the bodywork. The customers should be able to drive the SC01 on a racetrack, and so they integrated 2 ram air brake cooling channels into the headlights, which shovel air into the front wheel arch. If customers want this flow directly on the brake, they can fit a hose to guide air there. The SC01 has 6 piston calipers at the front and 4 piston calipers at the back, and they improve battery cooling to deal with higher temperatures on a racetrack. They use side inlets, which are not ideal because they also collect front wheel wake, so higher side inlets would be better. But these still work here because their outlets are actually the rear lights in the low pressure wake behind the car. Additionally, they have strong fans to push air through the radiators and blow into the wake behind the car, which reduces drag. Under the hood, which opens to the front, we find 3 radiators for water cooling and air conditioning, the front electric motor, a fully adjustable pushrod suspension, and the brake cooling ducts. They use 2 brake fluid reservoirs because of the position of the ABS block. At the rear, we find 2 covers. one for the engine bay, where we can also see the battery and rear pushrod suspension. The other one is for the huge trunk, and that is really a surprise with this car. There is such a huge storage compartment at the back, which can take 2 big luggages and goes all the way to the floor. And that was actually one of the development targets, to create an electric sports car with decent luggage space, and this is often a problem in this class. In the cabin, the seats are pretty close together for a narrower greenhouse and hence less frontal area. Result of that are pretty wide sills and a package which reminds us of the Lotus Elise. Inside we have a simple cabin without a tunnel and with carbon fiber seats. The SC01 has a fixed roof which cannot be removed. Interesting are the buttons in the ceiling here, where you can even decide if you want to drive with front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I asked why someone would drive this car in front-wheel drive mode, and they said Honda Civic Type R is cool and you can do the same thing with this car if you want. So the SC01 was presented in September 2022. The problem for small startup and sports car manufacturers with little production numbers in China is that, unlike in Western countries, there are no limited production exception rules. So the SC01 has to do the same approval procedures as any other mass production car. So they also have to crash test a number of cars, and that is a huge effort for a small company. The SC01 project was now getting support from tech giant Xiaomi. In addition to that, they started a cooperation with Jiangling Motors Corporation, who can help them with the production and sales of the car. So it was renamed to Jmev01. There are countless options to customize the car, and the price in China will be around 40,000 euro. They're also planning to sell it internationally. So the SC01 is an exciting little electric car with similar specs to the Tesla Roadster, but with all-wheel drive and more range, and for a lot less money. How do you like the SC01? Let me know in the comments below and check out my other videos for more.